My dad was a refugee from the Vietnam War, and I grew up hearing stories, particularly my dad's war stories, and those stories impacted me a lot throughout my entire life. It wasn't until I went to school myself that I started to recognize that his stories and the things that I was learning in school weren't necessarily matching up always. And I think that caused me to question a lot of what I believed and what was the truth, which brings me to my work now. I'm interested in how the children of refugees negotiate the stories of their parents. My research question is, how do Vietnamese American youth negotiate the various sources around them to construct historical understandings of the past? I worked with 20 Vietnamese American youth in California. In listening to their stories, I saw that there were three main sources that they were getting their information from: school, home, and the media. They would create a coherent narrative, but they would pick and choose what pieces from these sources made the most sense for them. So for events leading up to this war, my participants used information they learned in school. For events during the Vietnam War, my participants, a lot of them shifted and started describing really vividly some scenes from movies. They would describe jungles, they would describe soldiers, they would describe disillusionment, humidity, and it was a very US soldier-centric rendition. For events after the war, however, a lot of my participants started shifting over to their parents' stories or their relative stories of what the aftermath was like. So for the aftermath, I heard so much about experiences at sea or experiences negotiating a life in the United States or a new country. My particular participants didn't necessarily engage or interrogate the contradictions between the sources, and I found that really interesting. So my advisor is Dr. Sandra Schmidt in social studies, and I think her whole approach has really inspired me to be reflective about my own process and not to shy away from the fact that my positionality does impact my research and my experiences does impact the way that I approach and see this work or interpret and analyze this work.